A group of 36 First Nations in British Columbia will invest $715 million for a stake in an Enbridge gas pipeline system. David Jimmie, president and chair of Stonla Sec 8, calls the investment a template for economic reconciliation. He joins us now. Thanks for your time.
Hi there. Thank you for having me.
So when did the partnership first among the Indigenous groups form, and what was the purpose?
We first came together just over 2 years ago to talk about the opportunity and see whether or not there was an interest from the nations. And so it's been just over 2 years of work to get to this point.
Okay, so how do you feel about this Enbridge agreement? And tell me a little bit about the background about how you got here.
Sure. I think, overall feeling, I feel good about the partnership. I feel good about the opportunity to participate in an equity, to have an equity stake in a pipeline that's traversed over our territories for 65 years, and we've never had an opportunity to participate in the past. So I feel good that we have strong representation from the nations. We have established a really strong team to negotiate across from Enbridge, and ultimately coming to this position where we're going to see revenues go back to communities and support communities with their initiatives as they see fit.
So I don't know how it came about, whether you approached Enbridge or Enbridge approached your group, but what was it like working with them on this process?
I think any business deal and any negotiation has its ups and downs, and there was no shortage of that in this relationship. So overall, I think the intent and purpose from Enbridge in looking at the opportunity was in good faith and was really about trying to. They didn't have to do this, and they felt that. I think moving forward, they wanted to be able to establish those relationships and see if there was an opportunity to work together. So overall, a great team on the Enbridge side that came forward, and I think like any negotiation, you have nations holding their ground on specific issues, and you have Enbridge holding their ground, responsibility to shareholders on other issues. So it's always going to be a bit of a rocky road, but ultimately getting to this place, I feel very, very good and confident that we worked well on behalf of the communities we represent. What
was key to making it work?
Oh, it comes, there has to be an open mind. I think from Enbridge as a large corporation to be able to, come forward and offer a percentage of equity in this line, that comes, top leadership all the way down, and the teams that we worked with from representatives across the province here in Calgary. I think that's what really makes it work, and the active participation from the nations who are representing the interests of their communities. And so ultimately, at the end of the day, it has to be a willingness on both parts, and we saw that with Enbridge in this situation.
You touched on this, but I'm wondering if you can expand. You talked about the investment that will bring back to those BC communities now involved in the partnership. What does that look like? What will that look like over the next 10 years?
I think it's, there's a lot of community, I try to break it down into community opportunities out there. And there are some communities that are very fortunate, they're positioned well, or they have resources that they can tap into for potential economic development opportunities. And then there are others that don't have any opportunities at all. So this is extremely meaningful to all nations involved. And as communities identify the needs within their own communities, they'll be able to allocate those funds to support, whether it's elders, whether it's homes, infrastructure, health, mental health challenges that we face, youth engagement. The list is endless as far as needs that we identify in the community. So this will definitely go a long way and provide opportunity, I think, for discussions on future investments as well.
You have a $400 million loan guarantee from Ottawa that helped you do this. How important was that? Could you have done the deal without it?
The $400 million loan guarantee, I give a lot of credit to the Canadian Indigenous Loan Guarantee Corporation for working with us on this. it was very critical to making this deal work. And obviously, nations face challenges with access to capital right across the country. I think it dates back to how we're able to use our reserve lands because they're designated as crown lands, and whether or not that's recognized by certain banks or lending institutions. So the ability to have the federal government come in on this deal was extremely meaningful to us, and we do appreciate every it was a lot of meetings and it was a lot of work to get to this particular point, but their support was critical for us to get to this position today.
Is this a model you can see other Indigenous communities partnering on to work towards?
Yeah, I believe that it's a strong model. I think that it's always a challenge when you're trying to identify what, in a partnership, what are you bringing to the table? And this is, an asset that's operating in our territory that we've never had any benefit from. So the ability to work alongside Enbridge and build this partnership, I think, is a strong model for other industries to look at and other nations to look at and seeing how it can work to their benefit as well.
David Jimmie is the president and chair of Stonla Secate. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate your time on this.